Hi, everybody. This is Rich Gibbons with SpeakInc, and today we are here with Olympic medalist and mother of four, Noelle Pikus Pace.
That's right. That's right. Hey, it's good to be here.
Good to have you. And I would imagine that middle name gets mispronounced a couple times, a couple different ways.
Yes, there have been a handful of ways it's been pronounced, but
Yeah.
Pikus, 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 Pikus.
Yeah, I can imagine, but it's Pikus.
Pikus. Yep,
Pikus.
that's my maiden
Okay.
name. Yep.
Okay, don't forget that. So Noelle just dazzled. How many people were in the audience? It's like 2,000.
Yeah, there were quite a few. It was a lot of fun. It was really fun.
It was a cavernous room, but you did a fantastic job. These were construction industry, restoration, fairly restrained group, and I noticed that when you've got people from one company, one organization, there's a little bit of a fabric between them.
Yeah.
And it took you. I have some thoughts about it, but it took you a minute or two to get them.
Yeah, it was early morning, and kind of, they're just waking up and getting into this big room, and in a big room like that, it can be kind of tricky because it's darker on the edges, and so bringing in a little bit of humor helps.
Yeah.
They did a great job.
They
lightened up.
It was like a dark aircraft hangar. It was absolutely massive. Well, so there was a lot to like about Noelle's program, but just in terms of the tradecraft of the sort of the behind the scenes of the people in the industry, that's really what I like to talk about. And one of the things I thought was impressive about your stage presence was you never stopped smiling.
That's
Exhibit
the easy
A.
part.
Yeah, well, you would be surprised though, because there are some speakers out there who, if they get a little rattled, they get a little stony and they get a little stiff.
A little robotic.
Yeah. So that was number one. I just loved how you never stopped smiling. You just had this radiant grin on your face. And when you're relaxed and having a good time, the audience is relaxed and having a good time. So it took you a second or two to break them down a little bit, but you stayed in character.
Thank you. Well, thank you. Well, honestly, I think with all of my speaking experience, the more you can connect with somebody, it's interesting because this is contractor connection, but the more you can connect with people on a real level, the more everybody kind of lightens up and they're like, oh, she's real, or he's real, and they're up on stage and they're no different than me. I may be an Olympian, but there's Olympic careers, an Olympic at work, an Olympic at home, and we're just all trying to make it through each day. And how can we be a little better?
Right. Yeah. And you were very human that way. And I did like how you were smiling, but you were also playfully calling them out a little bit. You're like, it's a little early in the morning, because it is like, if you show of hands, how many people, and it can be crickets sometimes. If you just kind of carry on like everything's normal, you have to sort of stay connected with them.
It's true. It's true. Or calling out the one or two in the audience, saying, "Oh, you had your hand up. Give her a high five."
Right. And it makes them feel special.
Yeah.
Right. So the other thing that I really liked was you had a lot of variance in terms of lots of different modalities of that, whether it be the way, sort of your energy and the way in which you use your voice.
Oh, thank you.
And there were times where you were playfully laughing. There was a Dora. This is the first keynote speaker I've heard that used a Dora the Explorer joke.
Dora has been a big part of my athletic career.
And in my house, swipe or no swiping was a thing. So I'm very familiar with it. But I liked how you were playful and grinning at times, and sort of fun and upbeat, and then very poignant and heartfelt, and somber. Yeah, and that's a fun, and there were parts of that where that was illustrative of really masterful storytelling.
Oh, thank you.
There were great storytelling ability.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. I think, again, coming back to just the humanness of it, I think emotion is what connects us, and it's what ties us together, and it's through storytelling. It's through the stories. We don't necessarily remember the principles being taught. We don't necessarily remember a quote that's being said, but it's the stories. And when I hear somebody sharing a story, and even if it's not something that I'm interested in or something that I do, if I can relate to it and think, oh yeah, I've had that experience in my life, then I remember the emotion of it. And it's the emotion that causes us to change. It's that emotion that causes us to want to improve or maybe not, you know. So
Right.
hopefully through storytelling and through emotion, we can get an audience to come together and to be better because of our time together.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you clearly connected. It was a little bit of a tough takeoff role because they were just it was so dark and everything, but it was a great testament to your platform sort of energy and ability that by the end you just had them in the palm of your hand. And I think that was a testament of that was the line of people that wanted to talk to you and your silver medal and get a photo taken, and that's a manifestation of the connection and the chemistry that you have.
I appreciate it. That's one of my favorite parts about speaking is the aftermath of it, and
right.
being able to be there. And it's really to hear from them and to hear how they say, I liked when you said this because in my life, this is what's taking place.
Yeah.
And then they share their story. So it really is
and they're
the
so
stories
eager.
and it's the stories that connect us, and they'll share and they'll be like, there was a time when this happened, and thank you, because now I can go home and tell my mom or tell my child or tell my sister or something. So it's really cool.
Right. Yeah. Well, and you for you, that must be enormously validating that you are, literally changing people's lives, the way they think about their challenge. And so one of the things, again, there's a lot to like about Noelle's program, but I think one of the ways in which women in particular excel on the platform, I've been doing this for 33 years, and I've been able to see a lot of different styles and backgrounds and stories, but one of the things that I think you have kind of going for you is that there is a little bit of yaya sisterhood in that you're a mom, you understand, you're a devoted mother, a wife, and you have that element of your story. But then Noelle is a silver medalist in the sport of skeleton.
Look it up, Google it.
Yeah, exactly. Lie down on a cafeteria tray and go down a bobsled run at 90 miles an hour. And when you were talking about 5Gs, 6Gs, I've been in stunt airplanes that is like 3, 4Gs, and I couldn't get my head off. Like my head was back, and I couldn't lift my head again. So I can't even fathom. So to land that plane, I think your story, the arc of your experience and your story, resonates with the women. But then all the men are saying that sport is pretty badass.
And I think it goes hand in hand, because being a parent is like hitting 5Gs, 6Gs at a time. Like, what just happened?
And you get bruised and battered every now and again.
And that force against you, and you're trying to figure out how to use the friction for your benefit rather than allowing it to hold you back. So I think there's correlations there too.
Yeah. Well, it really hits. I think it hits both sides, because if it's too manly man football player, and like the women are a little bit alienated.
Yeah.
So you've got that. I've seen it also with female fighter pilots.
Okay, yeah.
Because the
you
men
get
are like,
both of both. Yeah.
That's really badass.
Yeah, you can connect.
But but there's a little bit of the sorority, the sisterhood.
No, it was great. Yeah, even here, a lot of the women in the line came up to me and said, "Oh, it's so great to have a female speaker. We haven't had one in so long, and to be able to connect and to be able to
Larry
relate."
and I talked about that.
It's really neat to see that connection, and to see that the women, especially, are appreciative, and then the guys would come up and say, "That was really cool. Like that's really awesome. I had an experience, maybe playing football in college or doing something else," where they would connect to the adrenaline thrill of it.
Right. So one of my passions is motorcycling and various types. And when you were describing, is it Germany, Austria?
Germany, yeah.
Okay. So one of the things that if you go out onto a paved track with a sport bike, the first lap or two, you tiptoe around, because is this a descending radius? Is this off camber? My tires are cold. I kind of want to see it. So when you were describing the training runs, and you lie on your stomach and you go freaking rocketing down this icy path.
You just go for it.
Like, I can't even fathom it. And the first two that went ahead of you were carted off in the, say it again, the
Krankenwagen. 9 Krankenwagen.
Yeah, 9 Krankenwagen.
Take anything away from this interview, this time together, 9 Krankenwagen.
Yeah. But is there any way to sort of tiptoe into, like,
so
I've never seen this track?
There is. I should have gone into that a little bit, but So
it makes you sound more badass.
once you're experienced, you go from the top. But in the beginning, you just start from halfway.
Oh, yeah.
So you go maybe like 50 or 60 miles an hour, and then
Yeah.
you go from 3/4 of a way, and then you
Okay.
go from the top. But once you're on the World Cup team, which is that experience that you're pulling back from, it's all from the top. Like once you're on World Cup, there is no like, oh, you
Yeah,
hit
yeah.
the training wheels and
Yeah,
you get to
yeah,
go from
exactly,
halfway. It's like, no,
exactly.
you've made it to the
Yeah.
top, so
Here are
you've
your
arrived.
water wings and training wheels.
Yes, it's
Yeah.
like, no, you're going from the
Right,
top, and
right.
so we go 90 miles an hour with our chin less than an inch off the ice, and it's just sheer chaos the first 1,000 times that you go down until you can, if you're in the, I can't even count how many times I've been in the ER for, broken
Right.
bones or bruises or things like that. But if you
Right.
can make it past that point, you're doing good.
Yeah,
You're
so
on your
yeah.
way.
The horrible, I was going to say road rash, ice rash?
Ice rash, yeah, road
Track
well,
rash.
yeah. I know we
that's-
had a name for it.
Awful.
Yeah, it's
And
awful.
yeah, broken bones, and then to sort of look down. I think for sort of the adrenaline junkies in the crowd, to know that, man, the last time I did this activity, I got really messed up.
Yeah, and you have
And
to
to
go do it
just
again.
Go do it again. So that's
Well, and today a lot of the focus was on being just 1% better. And when you crash, a lot of that just 1% is just having the courage to get back on the track again. Just taking a
Right.
step and saying, I just need to show up today.
right.
Like sometimes we don't want to show up in our day. And that 1% better could just look something like, I'm going to show up, I'm going to be present. And then maybe a percent better than that is, I'm going to be fully present. I'm going to be mindful rather than fully,
Right,
mindful.
right.
So
Right. Yeah.
just being 1% better, that's what
Yeah.
it's about.
Yeah, there was a lot of, last thought here, there was a lot of practical content that really, pretty much anybody, like I love the one that really resonated with me was, you get to the end of the day and what went well today, what didn't go well today, and what am I going to do differently
Yeah.
tomorrow to sort of use that experience to sort of, learn from your history
Yeah.
and get better. So
And prepare your future. Right?
yeah, there was a lot of pragmatism in the content, and you deliver it with a lot of positive energy. So
Thank you, Rich. I
well
appreciate
done.
it. Thank you
Well
so
done.
much.
So thanks for doing what you do.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
We'll see you on the
Thanks,
next one.
guys.
Cheers.